Okay, class, I'm going to talk to you about the MUMS database, or the one you're creating at the end of the chapter. And you can see I've got a blank database started and given it a name, and I'm going to hit create. And then I'm going to have to switch my screen here in the video, and so I'm going to pause it and then come back in a second. So I've created the database. Okay. And I only have so much room on the screen here, so, I might have to scroll around a little. All right, so here it's opened up. Now, if you notice in the files that you have for the class and in the explanation, the MUMS database information that goes in the tables has all been typed up for you. Lucky you. So all you have to do is import it to get the information. Now, this database should have two tables, but all of the information is in one Excel file. So you're going to have a little bit of a problem. When you import it, you're going to have too much information in one table. And to split that table easily, it's not easy. And it's just easier to import it, keep all of the data you want, delete the rest, and then import the table a second time to keep the information you want from the other new table. So let's look how to do that. First, I'm going to import, it's an Excel file, and I'm going to find it. I've saved it to my desktop, and it's Your Turn MUMS Landscaping. And this could be any database you're assigned, but I assigned you this one in the class. So I'm going to say okay, and I'm just importing it into a new table in the current database. So here's the information in the spreadsheet, and it's all right here in this one file. Now remember, everything in this table, well, I'm just going to go, I'll get back to that in a second. The first row contains some data that can't be used, right? Because the first row contains column headings. So it actually found that for me. So I'm going to say next. There's a customer number, and none of them repeat. They're all individual. So that's fine. We could, at this point, not. So for example, all of this is about the customer. Customer telephone number, customer amount paid, the balance, and the customer supervisor number. But now the supervisor also has a last name, a first name, and these other fields: city, address, city, state, zip. But this information isn't about the customer. This information is about the supervisor. So this is our second table. We have a customer table and a supervisor table. So I don't want all of this information in my customer table. So I can do it one of two ways. I could go each one of these and not import it, and then click the next one, not import it, click the next one. But it's just easier to do that when the table's built. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and just leave that alone and say next. I do not want the auto key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to say choose my own primary key, and I'm going to use customer number in this case this time when I'm bringing it in, but I'm not going to do that when I do it a second time to bring in the supervisor information, because right now the customer number is all unique. Each one has their own number, but in here in the supervisor information you can see it repeats over and over: 26, 29, 29, 32, 26, 29, blah blah blah. So we can't do that. We would have to say no primary key when we do this a second time. But let's go on. Next. And this is called the customer. I'm going to say customers. Okay. I'm going to say finish. And it asks me, do I want to keep this? No, I don't. Just close that. So here's my customers. I don't need this table, so I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to delete. Yes. Oh, I can't delete it while it's open. So I have to quickly close it. Now I can, oh, there we go, it's deleted. Okay, so customer information is here. And we can scroll over and see all of the information, but the only thing that belongs in the customer table about the supervisor is the supervisor number. The supervisor's last name, first name, address, phone number, how much money they make, blah, blah, blah. That does not belong in the customer table. Everything in the customer table is about the customer. So the customer has a name. It's not a last name or a first name. In this case, the customer is a company. I'm going to close the shutter bar. So I want to delete all of this extra stuff here. Supervisor number, I think we're going to change that to supnum or hashtag or something. And I'm going to do all of this in the, design view of the table because I can see everything in there. So let me go to the design view. And the customer number, I'm going to leave that as it is. The customer number is only ever, let me go back, 4. So I do want to make this 4. The customer name, I'm going to make it 25. The address, I'll make it 35. I want to always make these shorter because if you don't restrict that field size, somebody could type up to 255 characters, and that's like a paragraph. So rather than having someone make that error of continuing to typing, maybe they didn't hit the tab key to go on to the next field or something like that. So rather than just allowing that key, all that keying to go in, you just restrict the field size, and that cuts down on some of it. We'll make the phone number 15. I think 14 is the real telephone number, but we might have a country code or something. Amount paid, we don't do anything. That's currency. And supervisor number is only ever 2. Now this is really important. If you make your field size 2 in the supervisor table, you need to make your field size 2 that's right. If you make your supervisor number 2 in the customer table, you have to make your supervisor number 2 in the supervisor table. So we'll remember to do that. Now, I don't need all of this stuff. This is all about the supervisor, not about the customer. So I'm just going to delete it. And I can hit delete on my keyboard, or I can hit delete rows right here. So it says you're going to delete them permanently. Right, that's right, I know that. Okay, now when we go back to design view, it's going to tell us to save it. Or I should see datasheet view. And then it's going to tell us, some data may be lost. And what this is saying is, I've changed all of these from 255 down to something smaller. So I changed the customer name to 35. If the customer's name is larger than 35, everything past the 35 point would be truncated or dropped off. That's okay. I know there's not a customer number bigger than 35, so I'm not going to worry about it, and all the rest are okay too. So I'm just going to say, yes, I know. And here we go. We have everyone. We don't even have an area codes in here, so that shouldn't matter. And I did want to make my supervisor number, it did want us to make the supervisor number have the caption something smaller. So I'm going to go soup number, like that. And then save it, and now it says soup number. So I don't want to use this number symbol in the real name of a field. And I'm going to go back to here. So it still is a supervisor number. That's the real name of it, but I can caption it to anything else I want. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, so I'm going to close this table. And it's not asking me to save the table, it's asking me to save the layout. What I did was I changed the size of some of these. Up here, I'm best fitting. And when you do that, it's the saving of the field size. Yes, I'll save that. Okay, so I have a customer table. Now I need to do the same thing for the supervisor information and delete all the customer information. So I'm going to import it again. Import it, and it was from there. It's the same place as I got before. So it's there. And I'm going to say okay. And And yes, that's right. I have to move this little thing. Next. Right, the first row contains column headings. Next. And you know, at this point again, we could hit do not import, but I'm just going to go next, 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 and I want no primary key this time. This one's a little more tedious because we actually have to, well, no, maybe not. Let's just keep going. Maybe there's a need. And this is supervisor. We can leave it as supervisor data or just supervisor. I'll just leave it as supervisor data, that's fine. I don't need to save, just close. So here's our supervisor data, and there's way too much. We have no need for these customer information. So I'm going to go back to the design view, and I'm going to get rid of all of that. And I need to keep the supervisor number and everything below. So I will delete those rows. And I need to have address here. The reason it put in this field 11 and field 13 is because in that information, it already had the word address was already in that information because it was dealing with the customer's address. And it doesn't like to repeat field names. That you can't have the same field name in there twice. So city, this must be state. And then we need to make sure that we make this 2, the last name. I'll just make this 25. Is there ever a first name or last name that's more than 25? Wouldn't that be tedious? Address, I don't know, I'll make it 55. City, hopefully in our area we don't have any long names. State is 2. Hourly rate we don't touch, and time and date we don't touch. All right. We cannot make a primary key right now. Oh, and I forgot to check the customer number. Oh, no, we had that as our primary key. But we can't make a primary key now because, I'll show you in a second. Yes, yes. Because we have this redundant information. And a primary key has to be unique, right? Nobody else can have your social security number. Nobody else should have your email address. These are things we could use as primary keys because they're unique to us. So I want to keep one of each one of these records. So I'm going to get rid of all of these because those numbers, 32, 26, 32, 26, okay. So I'm going to get rid of these, and then I'll just get rid of the, oh, let me see. Let me do it this way. I'm going to highlight all of them and hit delete, yes, and then get rid of this one extra one. Delete record. Okay, so now everyone's in there 3 times. Now that I have state 19, what happened there? I need to go fix that. And maybe I want to change this to soup num also, but I do that back here. So again, I make this the caption. Oh, I'm sorry. You might not have seen that before. It's in the caption field. You did this already, so it shouldn't be new information. And it's 2 and state. Okay, what else was I looking at? I'm going to hit this and say yes. Okay, so then I just need to go back to my Excel spreadsheet and see what's going on here. I don't know why this is field size. It's short text, so I don't know why it's coming in as a number. But you would fix that, whatever say. I mean, we can use Washington. I don't care. This isn't about the information that's in here. This is about playing around with the information we have. So you either go back or maybe it was Illinois. I don't know. St. Louis. I have no idea, but you'll do it. Okay, that's it. So make sure that you have 2 tables. Then once you have your tables, save them. And then I don't think you have to create a form or anything else, but it might have you, you'd have to read through the directions more closely. And if you need to create a form, you can easily create a form, right? Whichever one. I had the supervisor selected. Okay, good job. Or thanks very much. Well, anyway.